俺の負けになってしまった。
It always helps if I turn up the actual correct channel. I'm on 15, not 16, so there we go. Oof, let me grab my other earpiece here. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to adjust this mic. Adjust this mic to be comfortable. Okay, and place my little, take some, yeah, there we go. All right, hey Viddy, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. By the way, I'm not sure if today's Gallery of Thought can be about fandoms. Yesterday, the creator of Earthworm Jim, still being a terrible guy, said that AI is much better for animation, and even had to go at someone I care about in another Discord server. Someone else in that Discord server brought up some intense hatred for EWJ based on interactions that they had with toxic members, but surely they don't reflect the whole EWJ fan base. Yeah, we can talk about that. It actually ties kind of neatly into what I was going to talk about anyway. So yeah, I'm absolutely okay with that. Let's just try and tap the right button. Got my little wizard and my little willow there. Yeah, we can absolutely talk about that. So actually what I was going to talk about originally here was cognitive offloading. So it perfectly lines up with that. And I'll start with my point so that I can go directly into yours right after I've kind of established the framework, which is we're currently seeing, hey, it's the wizard who's going to give us some insight into this modern human dilemma. What may be the answer, old wise one? I've been trying to read the same passage in this book for 40 years, and I still realized I can't read. something like that. No, it's called cognitive offloading. I'm gonna get a sip of tea really quickly. Man, that's so nice. So cognitive offloading is a term that's being assigned predominantly by people who are studying the effects of AI and humanity. And it actually kind of goes into, it's a little deeper, but it goes into what I was kind of saying a couple of years ago, even with AI, and what I've said again, even on this last, or technology. I don't guess I specifically said it for that. I don't know how to say that. Oh my goodness. Zdravstvushuli? I don't know what that is. I have no idea. And I'm sure several of those letters are silent. But welcome in, copyright infringement. What about offloading? So, Vidi brought up a point about, he was talking about, can it be about fandoms, because about of the position of the Earthworm Jim creator saying AI is much better for animation and apparently attacking people. And I was going to start with the fundamentals of what they are saying is the case, which is cognitive offloading. So hold on one second, let me bring this. I just realized why things were bad. There we go. I couldn't, my chat's on the wrong screen. There we go. My goodness. Yeah, how in the world? Just want to see. I don't even know how you would begin to say that. I'm sure. Yeah. But I don't, to be fair, I don't. I was going to try to say it, but I'm like, I have no idea how that's to be said. I know. Yeah. Yeah, I was just saying, it seemed like it was going to be one of the, it seemed like it was coming from one of the Cyrillic languages, or, you know, at very least Polish, but I couldn't say. I was like, oh, I'm gonna say it, but yeah. Well, thank you kindly. Thank you kindly. I'm gonna see if I can learn how to say that. See if I can learn how to say that well. But there we go. So we were, yeah. So it's a shame the animator, as terrible as he is, made some stuff. I can't. I'm trying to move my windows around and I can't seem to be doing it. There we go. Yeah, so we were talking about cognitive offloading. We'll get into specifically that. It was one of the things I've said before. Oh, welcome in, Maki Sprites. Heard Earthworm Jim had really good animation, but never really saw it. Shame they want AI then. Yeah, Earthworm Jim definitely did. It's really said how it's spelled. J is Y, though. So that's even going to be... It's not a matter of saying the J as a Y would be difficult. It's a matter of saying the J's as Y's where they are in that word. No, don't be sorry about it. Thank you for... Now you've given me something new to work on, so I'm perfectly okay with that. Thank you. So yeah. I've said this, I've opined on this for the past several years, where I was talking about technology becoming the crutch and humanity kind of having it, in my personal opinion, backwards, where it's our job or our responsibility to say, I now have all of human information at my fingertips, now I can use it to learn skills. And instead we've said, we no longer need to learn skills because I have all of human knowledge at my fingertips. It's, instead of saying I'm going to learn how to do something so I don't have to access it, we've said I don't need to learn it because I can access it. And AI's kind of exacerbated this. And so there's a thing going around now called cognitive offloading. And basically, the reason I was this hits me as it does is I was listening to a thing about, and I've talked about different various articles and studies and such that I've listened to, either lectures on, or I've done the reading, or I've had the reading done out loud, where a lot of, specifically Americans, I can't speak about this worldwide, but where a huge swath of Americans cannot read beyond what we would classify as a 6th grade level. And I think it's now 40 some odd percent. I'm not going to give an exact number there. I know it's in the 40 percentile, but I believe it's 40 some odd percent of children and young adults K through 12 are functionally illiterate. And a lot of the younger ones are even saying, some of the older ones also are even saying, why do we need to learn how to read when AI can read it for us? We have audiobooks, you know, we understand what words mean. We don't really need to be able to look at them on paper or on computer screens. We can just have AI read it to us. We can, you know. And so it's actually diminishing the general ability of critical thinkers, or the next generation of thinkers at all. Not even critical, just general thinking is kind of being attacked by this. And I'll be honest with you, I'll give an experience which I found really disheartening. And of course, I'm not going to badmouth anyone in particular, but I am going to make a silent part out loud reference. I was at work and had a meeting this last week where I was talking about different concerns that I had with various market strategies, let's just say. I'm going to keep it as vague as I can while still giving enough detail. And the person that I report to had basically in maybe a few more words, but very pointedly said, no, you're not a thinker, you just do. Don't think, just do. And it wasn't specifically an insult to me, he was giving instruction to the entire team. Don't think. Other people do the thinking, you just do. And so there's this great, and I'm not sure that he meant it in blanket like this, but that's still a really bad thing in this era of people already saying, you know what, it's okay just to do what we're told, or follow orders, or have something done for us, even, willfully, to have something read to us for us all the time. And we start to see the atrophy of certain critical skills, including critical thinking, the ability to question things and say, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Throw your logic out there, and then let somebody else throw their logic out there and see whose logic is stronger. And that is the basis of critical thinking. But how can you think critically if you can't even read or comprehend a majority of the English language, So that's my opinion on what AI is doing and where it's going, or where humanity is going with AI, is that I think we are exacerbating that particular issue. I was going to say error, it is an error, but issue, I think, quite substantially, because we aren't learning. We are saying it's okay not to learn because we have all materials when the time comes. The problem that I have with it is eventually we will get to a pattern where learning and studying and comprehension and retention have atrophied to the point of where actually having it there in front of you, showing you step for step how to do it, will not be sufficient to get you to be able to do it, or to help you to be able to do it. And so I'm not anti-AI. I understand where there are things that AI could potentially do that are handy, but I'm not keen on it being mainstream or widespread, or I don't know. I don't think it's kind of like everything else in life, is that being too accessible is dangerous, because anything that is too accessible can become addictive. There will always be somebody who can be addicted to something that they can get a hold of too frequently. So, the reading provides better insight. Also, all human information has also meant kind of all potential information about a human's life at my fingertips. That's true too. That's very, we overshare a lot of things that we shouldn't. I try to share things that are going to be relevant to the conversation. So, for example, my conversation where that was what was said to me, but the intent is I'm not interested in oversharing. I don't want to give everything. I just want to kind of flesh out the circumstance and show where there is a pervasion from this kind of news article 50,000 feet to actual practical application meetings that I'm currently having or have had in recent history. And then in this particular case, it was last Tuesday specifically. Reading and other skills. I saw a video about reading versus audiobooks, but I didn't really watch it. I did get a set of comments about, well, if you indulge in an audiobook, that's not reading. Then again, humanity's first stories were listened to. Yeah, see, I don't have a problem with audiobooks. I have a problem with audiobooks if audiobooks are completely replacing your ability to read. Because obviously there's a danger of letting any skill atrophy. But at the same time, I love audiobooks because I do a lot of traveling and driving. And instead of listening to random songs on the radio, which I don't really care for or is hit and miss, I would rather listen to an audiobook. So I like audiobooks for that reason, because it's not practical nor safe for me to actually read a book while I'm driving. But an audiobook I can digest while I'm driving safely. And then when I get back, I oftentimes own the audiobook and the physical book. And if I'm traveling, a lot of times I'll take the book that I'm listening to the audiobook with also. I'll start reading it before I leave. I'll leave, have the audiobook pick up where I left off. And then when I get to my hotel room, I'll read the rest of the book, or as much as I can read from the actual physical book, and then when I drive back, if I've not finished it, back to audiobook. So I think using those two things kind of in tandem is fine. I have no problem with audiobooks though. It's just I don't let it replace your actual ability to read. I don't want to use my brain for myself. I want to become 100% dependent on tools I don't understand and can't control. Exactly. Exactly. You want to give too much. The problem with it is there are two kind of forces pushing you in that direction. And number one is the human inclination towards the path of least resistance, which is I don't want to do this because doing that is harder than not doing that. And again, this is kind of where that cognitive offload comes, right? The other part of that is other people are pushing us in that direction because there is what device did I didn't plug in any device. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I think I got to fix my music. 1 second. There we go. It was a hardware issue. I knew it was. I saw a little software pop up going, hey, what did you plug in? I'm like, oh, something got unplugged somewhere. So, all right. Sorry about that. Let's see. Yeah, well, again, like I was saying before, there are kind of two versions of, or two forces pushing us into that attempt to offload. And one of those is our own desire to follow the path of least resistance. And then the other one is other people who want there to be some form of dependency, or perhaps they don't want their job to be made as difficult. Excuse me. Because they have to argue with critical thinkers. You know, critical thinkers are going to try and question things. And, again, that's above your pay grade. You don't need to worry about that. Well, yeah, but I do worry about that because I want to do good work, and other people who are in positions that are away from or detached from the people that I impact directly are not going to care as much as about how this goes if things go wrong, because they're not the ones impacted. It's that kind of thing. So you get those types of conversations, which are very anti-intellectual also, or and that's kind of what AI is boiling into, and technology is boiling into, is basically humanity not acclimating but adapting it because they don't themselves want to do a lot of this, and then because they don't want to do a lot of the thinking, they don't want to do it. Again, it's cognitive offload. We want to give it to something else. It's burdensome, and then you end up with people. You end up with people. I don't know. You end up with people who, as a result, have become anti-intellectualists. Because if you're thinking and your thinking happens to contradict what they thought, and they don't have better logic, then it's better for them to tell you that you should just not think so hard about it. I don't know. TBF, I don't pay you to think, is a common refrain for bosses when they want worker drones instead of competent underlings. Yeah, and I don't play games. I'm not interested in office politics. I don't care if I get the next promotion. I want to do a good job where I am. If somebody recognizes that and says, you know what, we think you'd be good to go up, great. If not, that's fine too. I just want to do a good job. But that means I have to take risks. That means I have to ask questions. Even before AI, I think this was always what such people wanted. Yeah, and I'm vehemently against it. Vehemently against it. If I've been in positions of leadership, and I want questions asked. If I'm not doing it right, the only time I'll ever, even to a kid, I don't usually say, just do it because I said so. I'll try to explain it as best as I can, because I want you to think about that. The aforementioned Silent Hill seemed to have so much green screen it almost makes it look cheap when it kind of shouldn't. I haven't seen it. Yeah, that's true too. It's quick. It's quick now. The closest you get to personal information about me, retro, is when I have toast. My experience in audiobooks has been mostly in long car rides. I think it's good for purpose there. It can also replace podcasts and background or something. I still make sure to read though. That's a great. Again, I've nothing against that. Audible's oral tradition, right, is what it's called. Strong oral tradition is usually what we hear it referred to. But yeah. We all have this streaming technology at our fingertips too. Right, but streaming, there's a difference, right? In the case of streaming, it's how you use it. Most of mine is not automated. Most of my stuff is stuff that I've programmed myself, gotten set up, and I'm using it also to have conversations with people about things that I'm passionate about. So I think there are good ways to use technology. I'm not anti-technology. I'm anti the way we seem to be using or wanting to use that technology. It's all right there at your fingertips. Yeah. Yeah. Now these commercials also be like, hey kids, etc. And they go, wow. What was it? Lettuce in a bag or whatever. I don't remember. I literally wasn't even alive at the time, but my aesthetic fits with the 90s really well. The 90s it was a cool decade. It was a really cool decade, honestly. There were societal things that weren't as good, certainly. We hadn't made some progress there, but and technologically, obviously, we weren't as advanced, but people-wise, I think we were doing a little bit better in terms of having conversations, being able to talk, overcoming timidity, because that was just the way of things. Hey, I'm software. Pay attention to me. Your viewers can chit-chat with your viewers in chit-chat can wait. And chat can wait a few decades. I don't know why I was putting chit in there. Chit-chat can wait a few decades. Yeah, no. But I'd rather talk. I'd rather talk to people. Oh, dude, that could have sounded like Skynet or Machine from the Could have, yeah. And that could be what some people are moving towards, too. I kind of miss those days. Now all the ads I get are trying to sell me some AI I never need. Yeah, and every time you're doing a search for something or, and even, again, going back to my job is constantly saying, hey, you can use this AI to make your job easier. And I'm like, but is it better? Easier isn't always better. Those two things are not actually often the same. Inside you are two wolves. One is gay, the other's gay. You're now manually breathing. Okay. Sounds like the game Manual Samuel. If you've never played that, funny little game. Manually breathing, not the, I don't know about if Samuel is gay. I don't think he is. I think there was a point where you talk to his girlfriend, but you have to manually make him breathe. It does add up to something. Well, I guess not directly the 90s as I wasn't alive, but generally older ads that were enthusiastic at least. Older ads had a lot of character. Even up into the early 2000s, there were a lot of really nice advertisements that were like, yeah. Being born in the late 80s, I lived in the 90s with those commercials, etc. Yeah. Yeah, the 90s were great. The 90s, I think we always look back at the decades that we were, that are more formative years were spent in and say, oh, you know what? But they're putting ads in AI now too. AI ads, it's bad. AI ads and AI, now there's layers. I wouldn't be surprised if marketing firms were using AI to do a lot of advertisements. Ogres are like onions. Layers have ogres. Onions have ogres. The Shrek. I've never seen. What are all of these quotes? I don't know. I've never heard of any of them, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute. Or they make you cry, or you leave them out in the sun and they turn brown, sprouting little white hairs. No, layers. Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. You get it. We both have layers. Here's another impression for you to try, Shrek. Mike. Oh, I've never tried a Shrek. I don't know if I never tried it. Because he does a very strange Scottish accent. Very strange. Because his is like, I can't do. His isn't even a fully Scottish accent. It's a Scottish accent, certainly, but it's like strange because like a Scottish accent has a more aggressive roll. It's like there's a little bit more of a roll to it, or a lilt, and in his, he kind of foregoes that in a lot of cases. So like when he says in Shrek 2, I think he says thick wavy locks, right? Thick wavy locks, but he doesn't even put that in the ton of the roll. Thick wavy locks. Yeah, something to that effect. But anyway, and it's just, but the L is, I don't know. I need to go back and actually watch the Shrek. I haven't seen the Shrek movies in probably a decade or more, honestly. Seconded, fourth. It kind of reminds me of one of my favorites. And the Lord said unto John, come forth and receive eternal life. But John came fifth, so he won a toaster. That ties a lot of things in our chat together, ironically. But who thirded? Checks fingers. How do I math good? Oh no. See, that's another thing too, is the whole math good thing. People don't like math, and we've done this for a lot longer than AI, where it's ever since calculators, where it's like, I'm not good at math, and they laugh that off. It's like, come on, guys, you don't have to be good at calculus, but come on, you should know how to add and subtract, and maybe percentages and decimals could be done in the head if they're 10, 20, 30%, that kind of stuff. That's pretty easy to do in your head. So, how many fingers am I holding? If Fiddy says it's not 4 but 5, then how many? Well, then 5, I guess. 11 teen. 8. Home Alone 2. Winston really does know how many fingers I'm holding up, does it? Wait. Winston really does not know how many fingers I'm holding up, does it? Winston is an it? I'm so glad Retro Room likes my quote. Yeah, the quotes are fun. I don't know where they're coming from, but they are funny. Retro trying to be a Scottish accent is on the way to have been... hold on. Trying a Scottish accent and is on the way to being an incarnation of the Doctor. Not that all of them... No, David Tennant is the... I believe... Isn't he the only Scotsman that's done it? Haven't the rest been either English or Welsh? And even Tennant kind of doesn't lean into the Scottish accent a lot. He kind of tries to put on a little bit more of a kind of an English accent, general English. Wait, is Retro talking right now? My headphones are not. Yeah, I was going to be like, I had my issue with the sound. Technical on Shreksent. It's an urban Scottish accent, heavily influenced by RP, that said if it's not too far off of the median Scot, AFAIU. I've done things. So I was going to say, it's technical on Shreksent. I was going to say, like the Scottish accent, when I hear a lot of those, I think it's kind of like you automatically go to the purple burglar alarm, right? And then you're sitting there going, okay, if I can say that, then I'm probably not doing the Scottish accent right, because it's like purple burglar alarm, something like that. It's a lot. Well, actually, I can still do it. So, but I don't think that was a Scottish accent. I think it was just putting a lot of roll into into purple burglar alarm. You know, and I'm not. I mean, I guess in terms of heritage, I guess I'm there's a decent amount Scottish, but I'm not directly Scottish, and so I don't have a Scottish accent. It's actually kind of an interesting topic how the rise of high-speed transport and the internet have led to leveling in most languages between accents, although usually observing political boundaries. Well, I'm curious as to what you mean, because the understanding of each language and kind of people having a better ear for what languages come from whence, I can see that being the case, but I don't know. Do you think that's when you say leveling, are you talking about accents being drawn more towards neutral? And I'm saying neutral in terms of the accents themselves kind of not being as pronounced. Because again, I have an accent. If you are in the United States of America, most people would say you don't have an accent, right? If you're in the United States of America, most people would say I don't have an accent. I can't place which of the states you're from. But if I go to any other part of the world, most people will say you have an American accent. Even though it's a more neutral American accent, it is still very much an American accent where letters aren't dropped off or superimposed, right? For example, I don't impose an R at the end of a word like draw when saying drawing, which is something that does happen in places like certain places in England and Western Europe, right? Drawing. We would say drawing. Similarly, I don't omit letters in cases of extreme accents in certain parts of the world, like T's, where people might say bottle. I don't say, but I also don't put it at the front of mine. I use I guess what's called a glottal T. So I would say bottle. So it's one of those, bottle, I guess, glottal T. To the question of, there we go. To the question of fandoms. Leveling is that's okay. That's what I was. I thought that was what you had meant, but I wanted to make sure I had understood it correctly. The erosion of the differences between accents. For example, English style R used to be. I'm not sure if I know Jingji. I don't know exactly how that's said. Jingji. That seems like something that would be in Mandarin or a language similar, so I'm going to assume that it's Jingji, but only thing. But now all of the CCP uses it, and only Taiwan. Oh, okay, so that keeps plain I. Sorry, this is Mandarin. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what I was. That's where I was thinking it might have been. I find it a bit bizarre to this day how just with a smartphone camera we can scan a word in a different language, especially seen in shops and translated. Technology, wow. And I think they're okay. I think technology is a decent intermediary for certain high practice or time-consuming works, right? So, for example, learning an entirely different written language system takes time. Learning an entirely different language takes time, but I would encourage people to attempt to learn I would encourage that supplement. That's what I'm trying to say. I would encourage that supplements Xingji is Jing. I cannot say that word well. Is the metro area that Beijing is a part of. Okay, so it's something that came from. Yeah. Which again, it's fair. But then you say the English style R, and then the question I would have to ask, and that is what English style, right? The English language says R is but we also have superimposed R's on A sounds, and we have omitted letters in that regard also. So I don't know. There are different. As the world begins to communicate more frequently with itself over long distances, obviously we're going to see some, like you say, leveling. We're going to start to see different extreme difference. We're going to see differences that are more extreme kind of begin to not necessarily erode, but kind of even out. But at the same time, the question I guess I have is what will it level out to, and why? I'll gently go into just using this as a bit of a board on a springboard, so to speak, on the topic of the fandoms. That's the other thing that we're starting to see is when we're talking about things that are, I would argue, communicatively negligible, such as an accent. We're talking about that leveling out, but then when we're talking about things like opinions, under groups that are particularly unified, or supposed to be unified by fairly simple, singular things, we're seeing the level completely throw itself out of balance and become pendulous, right? And so we're seeing things that don't really matter, vestigiality, right, of an accent, the vestigiality of an accent, level out. So long as we can all understand each other, it's okay, as best as we possibly can. But at the same time, we're also seeing this spectrum of opinion kind of swing violently and pendulously in one direction and then the other. So as we become more capable of understanding each other, we become less willing. At least in my experience. As we become more capable of understanding each other, we become less willing to. And I think that's a deeper shame. I think being unable to understand somebody is not the same, and I believe I don't necessarily believe it's any kind of crime. I think that's kind of circumstantial, but I would argue that becoming unwilling to understand people is a terrible thing. English R is English style in the sense that languages other than English don't usually have that sound. It's really rare, believe it or not. Fair play. I mean, there are a lot of there are a lot of languages that, again, a lot of the languages that I'm versed in have a Germanic R, and the Germanic R is very pronounced. A lot of the languages, obviously, that we have in a lot of these, in the hybrid English that English is, the R is fairly pronounced from both the Germanic side and from the Latin side. As a matter of fact, in the Germanic side, several of the languages, R was its own syllable because you rolled it. You'd have the R would be, or you'd have the R would be its own syllable. So having an R being a very pronounced letter is a very common thing for me, but I understand that it may not be common worldwide. Hey Ash, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing all right. We are being buried in a constant downpour of snow, and I'm very happy about that. As to your question, language change is fluid, leveling towards what is unpredictable. Think of it like weather. We understand the big picture, but details are volatile and hard to pin down. Yeah. Well, I obviously I'm not speculating on on being precise on that. I'm wondering we're seeing a change in places like Japan, where and again, going back to conversations of Scandinavia, including Iceland and such, where most people are not necessarily more well-versed, but they are well-versed, very well-versed in English. And in fact, in most cases, if you go over there and you start to speak in the language, Icelandic or Dansk or whatever you're speaking in, and you get it wrong, a lot of times they will switch to English. So I'm thinking that the answer, at least in a lot of places, is going to swing towards some form of English. I can't specify, obviously, the accent, but I also think it's a bit of a shame because some of these languages, several of these languages, are so much... Modern English, again, English didn't sound like this the way we speak it, even just 500 years ago, which is a moderately short amount of time ago. It was very, very different. We've talked about this before. We've talked about how the word "what" might have been spelled HVAT back then. What? And again, the V would be, again, a bilabial fricative, which would give a more W sound when paired with the H. But anyway, I digress. I've gone through that whole thing before, so I don't want to bore anybody with that. In fandom, sometimes people treat their opinions as fact and don't want to indulge in different viewpoints or something. Right. The R especially rolls in the 7th Doctor's accent. I need to go back and take a look at the 7th Doctor. Yeah, I'll need to go back and take a look at that. Thinking about death, happy times. Don't worry about it. Well, hopefully in a positive way. I think everybody thinks death is a negative, but I've never seen death. I've seen dying as a negative, but death itself I've never seen as a negative. I think it was, I cannot remember which, but maybe it was Pythagoras, I cannot remember. But anyway, one of the great thinkers, I think, from about that time, I'd have to double check, but one of the great thinkers had speculated that wherever we are, death cannot be, because if we are still, then we live. And wherever we are, death, and wherever death is, we cannot be because we have died. So death itself is something we will never experience. We might experience dying, but we're technically experiencing that every day. Snow away. It's too hot here. No snowing. Yeah, it's summer for you though. We're north of the equator. We got snow today, a light dusting, but it's also been under 20 Fahrenheit the whole day. I think the high today for us today is 10 Fahrenheit. And I believe with wind chill, I believe with the wind chill factor, it's the high for us is -11. Without wind chill, it's actually just 10 Fahrenheit, but with wind chill factor, it's like negative. It's going to feel like -11. So, but I think we're in for about 8 inches of snow, they've said, which is going to be rough because I have traveling to do on Monday, so I have to hope that the roads are safe enough. But I love the snow, so I'm absolutely not going to be upset if I have to travel. I'll just travel slower. The idea of death cannot be where we are thing sounds really close to the theory of quantum immortality. I don't know if I'm familiar with that specific theory. I know we've talked about the theory of quantum mechanics, specifically quantum superpositions, but I don't think I've ever heard of quantum immortality. If it works in the same way, I would assume it's... Well, I don't know if I should. Is it related to quantum physics? Yeah, I don't know if I've heard that theory, or what specifically that theory entails. We talked about quantum superposition, which is basically oversimplified, something that is defined by what it isn't, but we don't have definitives as to what it is, just to what it isn't. In which case, we take everything with kind of a... It's kind of like we talked about that in the... what is the game that we were playing? And I'll have to go back to it. Outer Wilds. And they have the trees that are quantum, in the quantum superposition, so if you turn around, they can be elsewhere, because when you look at it, you can define what it is, but when you don't look at it, technically you can't define anything. You can only define what it's not, which is in your line of sight. So, if the many worlds interpretation is true, then there's a fraction of a chance that you'll live until tomorrow. Then that reality will be the only one you experience, and hence you're immortal. Okay. I like the fact that one, I mean, that one's fun. I do think that one also, I do like also that the fact that one is predicated upon another interpretation, which I quite have enjoyed, so it's fair. Okay. An old video I saw on quantum physics used Super Mario World ROM hacks for an example, simply showing multiple Marios dying, as if that is an example of quantum physics and multiple outcomes in our lives playing out. Yeah, I mean, there are all kinds of different interpretations on that. There's the movie Next with Nicolas Cage, which shows something like that. The slightly lessening opacities of a multiple, kind of like if you ever played Super Meat Boy, right? And you get to the very end on one, it'll show you all of the lives you expended in getting to that correct and into that victory. And so it's like, those are kind of interesting little, oversimplified looks into it. My life is a Kaizo level. I hope it's not that difficult, but on one hand, I hope it's not that difficult, not that arbitrarily difficult, but on the other hand, if you've successfully made it to this point, you've got a lot of bragging rights. The average life is a Kaizel. What's happening in the U.S.? Trump better chill about my people's soldiers. Trump has a bigger mouth than he has a mind. I'm not trying to be rude. If there's anybody that likes Trump, I've got no problem saying that there are things that he's done that I'm keen on. I've said this before. He was one of the ones that had prevented some arbitrary debanking. He requires substantiation now of the risk that this is causing, or the expenses that you're losing because of this, before you can be debanked. And that puts us a little bit closer to treating a bank as a utility, which is something I think should be happening. But there's a whole bunch of nonsense that he's been up to, and I'm just not for it at all. We talked about the ICE arrests that were happening, and more have happened. ICE arrested a 4-year-old recently, which is a traumatic thing for a 4-year-old. Yes, maybe they were illegal. Maybe get the parents and figure it out with them as a family, and instead of just arresting a 4-year-old, that's probably not great. I think ICE arrested some. I have to take a look at some of these. Some of these arrests are just getting ridiculous, but they're not remarkably vigilant. It doesn't look like in their ensuring that they're good at what they're doing, in my personal opinion. I don't think they're well enough trained, or if they are well enough trained, I don't think they're using that training, or if they are supposedly using that training, I don't think they're exercising the great judgment that is likely a very key and crucial part of that training. The Onion wrote an article, or a little blurb, that was saying that they were at the end of a table waiting for a mom to give birth so that they could arrest the newborn. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of where it's getting, isn't it? They held down a guy and killed him point blank after disarming him. In other words, not great, TBH. Yeah. Wait, what? There's a video online I can't... Oh, yeah. No, it's... I don't have anything against posting links, I don't think. I checked it last time and I didn't see I had any restriction. Maybe I don't know how to do that, so I may have to look and see how to figure that out. Wait, didn't we talk about a similar story last week? Then again, story may simply be... Then again, similar story may well imply cycles of humanity. The worst ones repeat themselves. Oh, absolutely. No, they are... It's ridiculous. I find Trump hilarious, but he better chill about my people, lol, especially the ones who actually deserve some respect. Oh, I agree. There's he's making a lot of commentary, and very well, I mean, he's minimizing a lot of the impact. Now, I don't know all of it, but last I was seeing is he was minimizing a lot of the impact that was given to the U.S., a lot of assistance that was given to the U.S., especially from ally forces, from NATO forces, from, all these different organizations during the war in Afghanistan, and some it's just downplaying every kind of, and it's like, come on, The US is a big deal, but so are these other places. And again, I said this last time, where you see you go to these other countries and it's like, we've been around for thousands of years. This is where all human life comes from. And America's sitting here going, we're about to turn 250. And we think we're such a big deal. It goes back into what I've talked about with titles. And this is true all the way from little. This is true all the way from little to big. But titles do not make you important. Okay? Titles don't make you important. You make titles worth maintaining. Right? The president, becoming the president does not make you important. That's not the reason that you should be important. Your responsibility and willingness to help the people and so on and so forth. That's what's important. But people voted you into a position, gave you a title because you embodied the things that they felt that title needed. Not the other way around. This is when someone driving away in a car. Goodness me, what did Trump say about the UK now? Gotcha. I remember when he deported 5-year-old cancer patient with citizenship. I think it's a general YouTube chat thing that you can't post links. I need to figure out what's going on with that, because I thought you could post links. Or maybe only mods can do it in chat. I'll try. Get ready for the Rickroll link. Yeah, Viddy posted one. It's not April yet. Epic mod power. Okay. I don't have a problem with links. I don't know how to do it. Leveled up to epic mod. It's super effective. Ban Viddy, no links allowed. Ban in 3, 2. No, please. That was the kindest little... No. How do I ban again? How can I play The Legend of Zelda for reals, though? Does the option exist where you go to the 3 dots? Let me see. Oh, for his... yes, let me see about the links just really quickly. I just want to look at this. So I have it here, and I go into community moderation, maybe, and I'm going to just check this real quick. And then this is blocked word. What if I do that? Can I do that? Can I? Okay. Okay. Let's try that. Is that how it works? Do you want to, if you want to try the link again, or try doing a link again, I clicked it. It doesn't say anything about links specifically, but I thought, you know what, let me check it out. So if you want to give it a shot and see if it's working, by all means, please. Too much. There we go. He's ascended to a higher state of modhood. When I become the ruler of Australia, I'll deport Viddy. But where will I go? You do have 6 other continents, to be fair. You can go to... I mean, you can go to New Zealand. Keep it kind of close, you know? But, I mean, if he's deporting you from the entirety of the continent instead of the country, you have to go to the other continents. One of the other continents. If a mod tries to ban another mod, they have a brief brawl. Put up your dukes. That would be funny. Mod fight. Ninja Chuno. Can you see this link? I can't. No, I can't. I put a thing. I thought there was a thing where it was like, hey, can I put a... No, I cannot see a link. And it's not giving me anything where it's like... It would be a different thing if it's saying, oh, hey, you know, can you... Let me look here. It would be a different thing if it was giving me a little thing saying, hey, can you... Can they post links? But let me look one more time. Community moderation. Channel guidelines, maybe? No, that's just for me to put like a welcome message and stuff. Upload defaults, general, community community moderation, content controls, content, new videos and posts, sure. Messages in your live chat. What is this? Maybe? No? There's no other option. There's basic or none. So no, basic's fine. Posts in your community. It says viewer posts on moderation. It's basic because the alternative is hold all. Or don't hold on. So who can post? I don't just have it on mods only. Is there a mods only option? Not even a mods only option. It's and then blocked words, which I don't have any. I don't know what's going on. Permissions, maybe? No. Yeah, I don't see anything that allows me to community moderation. The thing I see, but I don't see anything that's like user management. I can. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just have to take a peek. I'm sorry. I don't know where to do it. Everything I'm looking at says there's not a restriction on you guys being able to post anything. I don't have any blocked words or anything like that. So maybe I just have to look deeper into it. I thought that was going to be. Let me blow that up. There we go. I'm sorry. Did the one above not show? Maybe only I can. No, we saw yours. No joke for me this once. I can't see a link. Yeah. I tried to post a Pew First Amendment poll again. Huh. Yeah, I'll do some more research and see what the heck's going on, because I'm sure there's a setting I'm just not seeing. So I apologize. I'll try and send a link. Let me know if it works, but that's not a link, but I don't know if anybody should click on it anyway. It didn't work. Might be that Ash needs to reload or something. Do I need to clean my revolvers? From reload to revolvers, this is Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolutions. Yeah, don't let them get gunked up. They can blow your fingers off if they get too jammed. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. What happened to Vidibag? That's what happened to Vidibag 87. He's just got stumps. But you didn't see a link to a YouTube video. I saw your link, yeah, but I didn't see any. I haven't seen any others. Thought I was bitten by an animatronic with too much retconning. I thought he was bitten by an animatronic with too much retconning. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but it's. Let me look. I want to look at a couple of these, just kind of give some examples, because it's a good point. Not a lot of people are keeping a huge. Not a lot of people are paying a lot of attention to what the heck we have going on over here, until we started deciding that it was an appropriate thing to start insulting everybody. Let's see. So there was an attorney. I'm not an attorney. Excuse me. There was an Army veteran. U.S. Army veteran who got detained by ICE, was apparently put away for 8 hours, was not allowed to call an attorney, which is the right of an American citizen. You have, it's literally what happens when you get what we call Mirandized, right? You have what are called Miranda rights, you get Mirandized. The gist of Miranda rights are you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you. Those are the key rights, right? And then after those are done, they usually say, do you understand these rights as I have read them to you? In addition to the right to remain silent, a lot of people, a lot of police and a lot of others misunderstand. And they will say, you don't have the right to remain silent because I didn't Mirandize you, you're not under arrest. You only get Mirandized if you're under arrest. Problem with it is that the Fifth Amendment also allows you to remain silent against self-incrimination. So you also have the ability to plead the Fifth Amendment if you don't want to speak, even if you've not been arrested or Mirandized. But then if you're Mirandized again, if he's arrested, you have the right to an attorney. There's an allegation that White House posted a digitally altered image of a woman after an ICE protest. There was a 5-year-old, not a 4-year-old, detained by ICE. So you got a lot of those. those things going on right now. It's really, really, it's not great. And then he apparently has, and I'm going very quickly, so I'm not, but apparently he's walking back what he said, the negative things he said about the UK soldiers who fought in Afghanistan. So I guess he's now saying they were among the greatest of all warriors, but then before he was saying most of the NATO troops stayed away from the front lines. So it's just, there's a lot of nonsense going on. Good Lord. Links are not allowed because it's not a Legend. Legend of Zelda is turning 40 this year. I know, it's crazy. Legend of Zelda is a good game this year. God knows it's been a while, and by a while I mean Wind Waker. I don't know. I like Twilight Princess all right. It's not nearly as good as something like Wind Waker, but I like Twilight Princess. Happy birthday to the Protag, whose name is Zelda. No, Zelda is the protagonist of some of the games, just like the bad ones, but two of the bad ones. But what about Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword? Didn't like those. Skyward Sword, I'm like, Twilight Princess I did like, though. Zelda isn't the protagonist. That's just silly. Zelda's the princess Mario saves. And Peach is the one Link saves. Oh, right, forgot, yeah. I like Twilight Princess video, I'm just being goofy. Oh, cool, okay. Yeah, I was saying, Skyward Sword was, I mean, not terrible, but I did like Twilight Princess. Thoughts on Tears of the Kingdom? I hear quite the split amongst the thoughtful types. Oh, it's for Ash. I'll give mine unsolicited, so I apologize if it's just unwanted, but I do agree that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have there's something that could be fun about them, but every time I play them, they mostly just feel empty. So there are fun things that happen in them, but they feel like a lot of empty, in my opinion. Zelda's also the wife of the guy. Zelda's also the wife of the guy who wrote The Great Gatsby. But that book is more than 40 years old. F. Scott Fitzgerald was the gentleman, or the guy that wrote The Great Gatsby, if I'm not mistaken. Haven't played Tears. Not the biggest fan of Breath of the Wild, though. Huh? Why? That's a fair response. That seems like a very genuine response. I don't have a Switch. I'm poor. I borrowed mine to Viddy, but he sold it. I don't feel that Tears of the Kingdom was different enough maps-wise from Breath of the Wild, plus the allies make it a bit easy. Yeah. Just not a fan. I don't think it's bad, though. I just prefer older Zeldas. Yeah, I agree with you. What's up with the stuff about the Great Gatsby-themed parties? Isn't that against the whole point of the book? I'm also kind of debating on whether I get a Switch 2, least of all when the new Mario Tennis comes out. I like the Switch 2 a lot. But I also bought a Switch OLED. And unless you're really wanting to play the things like the new Mario Tennis or the new Switch 2 games, there aren't very many of right now. I think the Switch 2 is a great console, but if you've got a Switch OLED, you pretty well have 90% of what it is. The Switch OLED was for my daughter, but again, it's 90% of a Switch 2. It's just it looks really nice. It plays really well. It just won't play Switch 2 games, but there aren't very many of those right now. I love debating in here. I don't think that's what that is. I don't think that's what you're supposed to. I don't even think that's not even a word. I haven't read the book for a while, but I'll be darned if, regardless of the reason Gatsby throws a party, people want to indulge in that over-the-top fun. With all the, let's see. With all the Skyward Sword hate, can we at least agree it has one of the best OSTs? Oh, yeah, absolutely. The theme, which is the reverse lullaby played with more aggressive brass, is brilliant. And I don't, let me be clear, I don't hate Skyward Sword, it's just not, I don't care for it all that much either. It's very much a 5 of 10 to me, a 5 on 10 to me. Right? It's very average to me. But OST-wise, yeah, no, I completely agree with you. The soundtrack is brilliant. No one asked for your opinion, Retro. Jesus. That's fair. I gave it unsolicited, but discard it at your leisure. I'm not offended. Not easily, at least. I'm not sure if SS has the best OST, but its music is still... Oh, the music is great. I do, and I have the soundtrack. I bought the one that had the golden remote, the golden Wii wand, and the soundtrack and everything. So, I mean, I definitely enjoy it. A streamer responding to chat. There are a lot of people that do the streams and such that just kind of let it run by a lot. I like the idea that I get to kind of see each comment and give commentary where I have any to give. And I appreciate that any of you are willing to take it any which way. The streamer is awful. He doesn't get into any controversies. The amateur. That's just because there aren't enough people to say. I mean, I guarantee you there are people that come in and see what I do after the fact and say, "Oh, this is your takes are terrible," and that's okay. What I say is I would argue that what I say is controversial to the vast majority of people, but I also don't have the vast majority of people on here, and I'm okay with that. The idea is to be not controversial, but is to be honest, and then have people that disagree come up and say, "Hey, if you've got better logic, I need to think more deeply about that." Retro better make this stream themed after The Great Gatsby, or I'm leaving. I don't have all the things to do that with, but I could make a Great Gatsby themed stream. Although again, there would be an indulgence that probably is preached about, preached against in the traditional way. Gatsby's Fireplace Dungeon. That'll be the name of the book that he's reading right now. Is The Great Gatsby. I still can't read. Actually, The Great Gatsby is not a very long book, so that book's way too big. The Great Gatsby is a pretty short book. Since I've mentioned The Wire a few times, the character makes a great impression of the book title character. Nice one. Skyward Sword is odd with its gameplay. Like, I don't know why they had the whole 3 areas and the empty Skyward thing. However, the dungeons, the music, the storyline are pretty good. Yeah, I agree. It's fun, and the art style is really nice. Again, it's got a lot of things going for it. It's just it's kind of like having a sandwich where there's not much in between the bread, but it's really good bread. It's like fresh baked French bread or brioche. It's like there's not much in between here, at least not what I would want. It doesn't feel like there's enough meat, doesn't feel like there are enough vegetables. But the bread is this really nice, lightly toasted, lightly buttered brioche, and it's wonderful. So there are elements about it that I love. It's just it doesn't feel as substantive as I would hope it to be. When I stream, I will only answer a sentence if you pay me a $5. Only one sentence of $5, though. I mean, you'll be a wealthy man if people do that. SS might have one of the best stories in any Zelda game. It's not bad. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad. I like... Again, I like... there are elements I like about it. I do like the stories of like Wind Waker and Twilight Princess better personally, but I mean, I'm not. It's I'm not going to disagree and say you're wrong. I'm just going to say I don't. Or I'm not going to say I'm not going to say you're wrong. I may just say maybe not as much to me, but yeah. Borrow Ash a $5 rather than 20 quid. All right, yeah, you're right. You get one. You get one. 4 comments can't be made now. 3 comments can't be addressed now. IMO, the thing with SS is that it traded its exploration for more dungeon complexity. It's a trade-off, definitely, and not always easy to ignore. Yeah. Borrow me 4 $5. What if I gave you 5 $4? What would you do? There's no... I mean, I don't even know. I mean, that's what I guess that'd be. I don't even know what a $4 is, but oh well. The areas and dungeons before them, at least in SS, were great, like the Silent Realms too. Yeah. I mean, again, I think SS is not a bad. Skyward Sword's not a bad game at all. I don't agree with the sentiment that it's a bad game. It was one that just felt, again, the sandwich analogy kind of feels the most apt for me. Is that it just didn't feel like there was much in between the buns or in between the bread, but the bread was fantastic. And just like any other dinner, I fill up on bread. I'm disappointed if there would be substance, but in this case, I felt like I was fed. It just was overall, it was a little bit more bland than I had anticipated. Delicious bread, but no meat, no vegetables. Is this in loonies or dollars? I know loonies are actually a form of currency, or loons at least, or a form of currency, but dollary-doos, I'm pretty sure, I don't think that's a real currency. Loons are Canadian, are they? I think. I have to be clean. I have to go back and check. Maybe the Great Gatsby book size got changed by the wizard and he's still stuck on a page of it. Maybe so. He doesn't turn the page at all. That's true. I'm currently ready how to please a woman in 180 short steps. I mean, I'm just having a relaxing evening watching my favorite streamer. Unfortunately, he's on a be right back, though, so I'm here instead. There were so many jokes that were thrown in those two sentences. One of which is self-deprecating, and then the other one of which is deprecating or deprecation to me, which I think is great. That's funny. Maybe the wizard is thinking deeply about the book's themes, which are probably philosophical. I like to think that he's reading a book, not like a spell book or anything, because you always think about that. He's reading these symbols and these. I always like to think, though, he's just reading his favorite book. All of those books on the bookshelf beside him are books of study that he's required to read or have read or stay up to par on. But the book he's reading in this moment is one that he enjoys reading. It's something that gives him warmth greater than the fire behind him even can. That's what I like to think. And his little friend Willow, or my little friend Willow. The wizard is me, and my little friend Willow there on my cloak, twitching like she used to next to the fire when she was a happy kitty cat. I meant reading, not oh no, you're fine. You were ruined. No, it was good. It was not ruined. It was good. I've also found a great quote on the philosophical themes of Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Heck yeah. What is the? I'm curious as to what the quote is. Then I'd love to hear what the quote is. Brave New World's good though. Aldous Huxley was pretty genius. I'm not ready. There was a book that was recommended. I think I've made reference to this. There's a book that was recommended to me that's actually been pretty interesting, combining philosophy and the AI conversations that we had earlier, called Citizen Cyborg. And it's a moral. It's supposed to be the philosophies of morals. It's written by a guy named James Hughes, but it's called Citizen Cyborg: Why Democratic Societies Must Respond to the Redesigned Human of the Future. And it talks about things like artificial intelligence and nanotechnology and so on and so forth. But the idea is the understanding of how our philosophies, which are supposedly humanitarian in nature, are going to have to either adapt, or we're going to have to think more deeply on some of them as we start to create the new species of human through AI. I'm also not ready for reading, Ash. I can't read video. I'm just really good at guessing what you're all saying. Just read the absurdity of that statement. Oh, that would be more impressive than just being able to read, although I know that that's rapidly reversing in the way that people can't read today, but still. Just read a copy each of Book of Five Rings, Art of War, and the Book of the Dead I got from Five Below on a dare. I can see why they're classics, if nothing else. Art of War is, of those, Art of War is the one I would be most familiar with, and I agree that the wisdom that's put in there is brilliant. And the favorite one that I've taught, I think a lot of people have kind of had this as favorite, but there are two favorites I have. One of which is, of course, and I'm paraphrasing, one of which is never interrupt your enemy if they are making a mistake, which is, I think, brilliant. And it's basically modern. It translates to let people speak themselves into a hole. Do not interrupt and debate with them. Yeah, understand the utility of silence. The other one is build for your enemy a golden bridge upon which they may retreat. Be graceful and honor bound in this regard. Let them dig their grave, and then politely say, instead of jumping into it, here's where you can back out with some level of dignity. What are all the letters and numbers you were supposed? It makes no sense to me. 5 Below capitalized. Oh yeah. I think we have a 5 Below somewhere around here. I don't think I've ever been into it, but I have. I didn't realize that 5 Below sold books. I don't think I've ever been into it. Alucard, which is Dracula backwards, since no make posts these all? I'm assuming these posts all make no sense. A plus parenting is when you name your son your own name backwards. Yeah, that's how you know. Well, you could consider it a different form of patronymic naming, right? Which is something that Iceland still does. Wait, no way. Looney's Canadian $1 coin. Dollary-do. The common thing used to distinguish AU. See, Looney's, that's what I was thinking. Looney's I knew. I didn't know Dollary-do was actually a real... I didn't know that was a real phrase. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no worries, Viddy. Yes, if Viddy, if you haven't heard it, then there's no way I would have heard about it. Canada Canada and Mexico, they border us, so I knew a loony was going to be. I knew what a loony was. I had to make sure I knew. I was like, wait a minute, I was doubting myself. But Dollary-do, I did not know. I guess it makes sense. I guess the didgeridoo is one of those, but I think that's mostly Australian native, isn't it? Or something more. I guess that makes sense. Something more affiliated, I guess, with Australia, specifically Australian natives. Currency over here is called the lovely coin. True story. It isn't. It's called pound. You can't hear. No, I wouldn't do that. That was a quick funeral. RE that battery. So what did I miss? I guess Dollary-doos are used to distinguish Australian currency or dollars. I didn't know that. I can see where, it gets, like I said, I can understand maybe why, but I didn't know that. I did know about the loony. I doubted myself, but I was pretty certain about it. Bye, Viddy. Hi, Viddy. As if I couldn't write as well as Huxley or Fitzgerald, which is fair enough. None of us talked poorly on you, but I couldn't write as good as Huxley or Fitzgerald or, any of them. I did get a new book. My wonderful wife, Ivy, got me a new book. She got me this. She found a really nice copy. I like my books. I like my books in print and paper, and I like hardcover specifically, right? So print and paper and hardcovered on the outside. And she was out and about. I don't know where, but she found me a really nice. She found me a really nice Iliad and Odyssey, and I love the Iliad and the Odyssey. So she got me this really, really nice hardcover one. I don't know where she was. It wasn't a library. It was like a outlet store, but they had a really nice copy, and I think they only charged her like $6 for it, and I was like, oh my gosh, or $7, I think is what it was. But anyway, $7 for the Iliad and the Odyssey hardbound, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful hardbind. It's not like a cloth bound or a leather bound, so let's be clear on that. I've got my top shelf is literally just my leather bounds, right? It's my like Ivanhoe and The Mill on the Floss and Red Badge of Courage, like my first editions. And then I've got some of the compendiums, like the Barnes & Noble ones that I think everybody has on their shelves, but I think everybody should have a few of these because they're great. Le Mot d'Arthur, Ancient Greek, the entire compendium of Ancient Greek gods and heroes, all of the Norse mythology, or Tales on Norse Mythology, Shehrazade's, supposedly Shehrazade's 1001 Tales, but the entire H.P. Lovecraft, the Brothers Grimm, Dracula, Charles Dickens, Greek philosophy. And then on the next shelf is kind of just the hardcovers that are, except for my Lord of the Rings, which is suede bound. Everything else is just kind of the regular old, cardboard covers. And so I've got Sherlock Holmes and Iliad. I have a 106-year-old copy of the Sherlock Holmes novels, though. Sherlock Holmes novels. And then the third shelf is like the paperbacks that I like. Notes from Underground by Dostoevsky, and the collective works of Nietzsche, and The Prince by Machiavelli and The Republic by Plato and such. Do I have a Aldous Huxley book on here? I know I have Aldous Huxley books, but no, I have The Planet That Wasn't by Asimov on here though. So there's that. Isaac Asimov's also brilliant. Anyway, so yeah, I like books. I collect too many. We have 2 books. Again, we have 4 bookshelves in the living room, 2 10-foot and then 2 3-foot or 4-foot, and then I have a bookshelf in here that's a 6-foot, and then we have 2 in the bedroom also. So we've got a lot of books, and we constantly are adding to that collection. In all seriousness, I did just buy a book called How Does She Keep Getting Out of Her Cage 10 Ways to Keep the Woman Where She Belongs. Really long title. That is a long title. Also, yeah. Someone please audit what's going on at Thatcher's local. Yeah, what bookstore? That's a great point. What bookstore are you going to? This is a dangerous bookshop. Like, the bookmarks have got to be bladed or something. Because this just seems like the most sadistic, the largest library of sadistic titles. Although, to quote Dracula from Symphony of the Night, perhaps the same could be said of all religions. I think that's probably fitting. Most holy books are pretty sadistic too. No offense to anybody who is religious, just a lot of them have a lot of terrible things. How would that title fit on a book cover? Well, the title I read just a bit ago was kind of a long title. It did fit on there. But it was a lot more appropriate in terms of like something that somebody might generally want to read. I wonder if AI can even answer the following questions. What is the longest book title name? I don't know. Google probably can. Other humans probably can. AI might. Ash goes to Barnes & Noble, but evil and free. Farms and barns. I was thinking about that. Farms and what would be the appropriate, just complete synonym maybe. So farms and what, maybe Farms and Ignoble? Would that be right? Farms and Ignoble. The opposite. Evil and freaky. That's just what it is. That's just the name of it. Instead of Barnes and Noble, it's just capital E, capital F, evil and freaky. Books are large enough to contain at least twice as many words as that. Necessary clarifying question. Do anime light novels count? Because some of those titles, I don't. I'm sure they do count. I don't know the titles of them, but I believe you. According to a quick Google search, it is the historical development of the heart from its formation from, and I was like, from what? From ellipsis. The historical development, the historical development of the heart from its formation from. That's interesting. Speaking of which, a recurring joke on my Discord server is the member Gaming Thunder responding to a long post with, that's a lot of words and letters. And numbers if applicable, I'm guessing. That's a good response. Is a reference to an anime or manga, which he likes. My wonderful wife Ivy by Retro Room coming to a bookstore near you. That's a good title for a book though. Even if it wasn't specifically about mine, that's kind of a nice title. It kind of has a nice, a pleasant flow. It's got a little alliteration in it. Make a portmanteau of them. My wonderful wifey. I've been enjoying the work of Drew Peacock and... Really? I see. I read that and I was like, wait a minute. Okay. Nice try. Odyssey. Also, a film adaptation of the Odyssey is meant to be coming out this year. I know, and it's got Ralph Fiennes in it. I watched one like 30 years ago, and I cannot find it again. But it was like 30 years ago. I remember watching another Odyssey adaptation, and it was great. And I really am excited with Ralph Fiennes. I love Ralph Fiennes. I'm really excited to see. Ivanhoe's my favorite of the Seven Dwarfs. No, Ivanhoe has nothing to do with the Seven Dwarfs. Ivanhoe could do with Robin Hood, though. This bookshelf Retro is describing as the one next to the Wizard. Wizard, have you turned the page? It's next to the Wizard, but I actually have that very, very similar bookshelf behind me in real life, and that's what I was looking at. So yeah, that is it. That is the parallel there. I'm just going to shill the book Worth the Candle here. It's like D&D. I don't know what I'm not sure what that is. Is sake, but actually well thought out. Instead of like, here are 5 anime girls who you will fight over. I say shill, but I'm not paid anything. It's just one of my favorites. Okay, I'll take a look at that. None of us are paid here despite the promises. Retro borrows all 20 quid. Farm staying Retro Room is preparing us for what is apparently the animated film of Animal Farm coming out this year. It does not look good. Animal Farm's a terrible. There was a cartoon. Animal Farm's been in animated form for a long time, and it's never good. It's never good. Again, it's another one of those Orwellian horrors. Let's call it. You should form a union. Good Lord. You should form a union. I've not watched DS9 in a while. I don't even know what that is. Oh, Deep Space Nine, maybe? I've never watched that. That's just a guess. I'm assuming that's what it is. Is there a trailer for the movie out yet? I hadn't seen. For Odyssey? Yeah, they've started putting teasers out ever since last year. And it's good. Thumb Bros, how are you doing, Thumb? It's good to see you. I hope you're doing wonderfully. It's wonderful and snowy and icy here, and I love it. Hi. The only way I heard of it was on Jeremy John's review of the new Silent Hill film, and someone said, "Oh, great! Animal Farm will be the next disappointment." I didn't know that there was a trailer for Animal Farm. I know that there's an old animated Animal Farm which did a pretty decent job of characterizing the book, but as far as Odyssey, that's what I was talking about. So, if you were talking about Animal Farm, my mistake. It's like a prank on Moe in The Simpsons. Freely first name IP. Am I stupid? I don't get the. No, you're not stupid. They're names that are meant to sound like dirty things, so to speak. It's not supposed to be Drew Peacock. It's supposed to be Droopy and my, and then the Kehunt are said as one. Don't worry. It's not important. That's what it is. He just drops the line and then says, "It's not important," and then moves on. Puts on sunglasses and then just goes into midnight. Hello, Vinny. Hello, Ash. Speaking of which, the new Silent Hill movie is not getting a lot of good reception. Thoughts? I thought it looked awful for months. I'm not surprised. I'm sad though that because Silent Hill is something that deserves some TLC. And honestly, Silent Hill F looks like it's a lot of fun. The last Silent Hill game that I played, which was the 2 remastered, was great. So I'm a little sad. I don't want this to dissuade them from doing more Silent Hill stuff, though. I want them to focus on giving it the attention it needs, but I don't want them to. We're not getting Silent Hill, G because the movie didn't do well. Maybe just video games are your forte and not movies, Animal Farm's adaptations from the 50s and 90s are decent, but yeah, the new one does not look good. Deep Space Nine, okay. Yeah. Fast, not one I've seen. I've not even seen Deep Space Nine. There's no way I'm going to count that far up. Now that is something Starfleet Captain might not say. Brutal Weather by me. Got a philosophy online exam due midnight, working on that. Okay. Well, best of luck. I don't think you'll have any issue, obviously, but best of luck nonetheless. Yeah, the brutal weather, I imagine, is probably 10 times worse there, because I think it's much colder on average there, whereas it was on Christmas Day. Here it was 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And then it's been kind of in the 70s and 80s, and then all of a sudden, boom, and like I said, today our high is 10. and with wind chill factor, it's actually -11. So we've got about 8 inches of snow coming. I'm very happy about that. I love the cold. Good luck with the exam. What sort of philosophy topics does the exam focus on? Good question. Speaking of mods, that last message of copyrights was held for review, but I allowed it. Of copyrights? Which one? That last message of copyrights? Oh, the one about the joke? Yeah, I don't have anything that's supposed to be... Nothing's supposed to be banned. I'm sorry. I didn't get a notification on that at all, so I apologize. Pity taking my credit. Oh, you were faster than me. Thanks for not banning me. Of course we wouldn't ban you. There's not supposed to... We don't... Unless you're somebody who's coming in here and just trying to be disruptive and, you know, we're not going to censor you. If you're somebody who's just coming in here and spamming a whole bunch of, you know, stuff that's trying to get a rise out of people, yeah, you'll probably get in trouble for that. But ultimately, no, I'm not interested in censoring anybody. So if I need to figure out if that happens too much, I need to figure out how to turn that completely off. I thought it was off, but it's a trigger finger. Give it time. Bioethics. Kant versus utility. Ooh. Right, sorry. Ivy just sent me a message. Okay, there we go. Sorry. The Waco kid stole my lunch. Mill's utility. Oh, okay. Specifically. I guess she's doing another. I guess she's going to be doing a stream for somebody's birthday. Okay, cool. So Kant versus Mills, or Mill, I guess. Yeah. Copyright tried to understand what it meant, and he said, which led to the word that I don't have any words that are banned. Hold on. Also, I could be wrong, and forgive me if I am, but I believe, I don't want to be rude, but I believe copyright is a she. I think that isn't that what you had said, copyright, or am I wrong? Yeah, I don't even see where it didn't even pop up on my, like, I still don't see the, I still don't even see, hold on, maybe I can turn that on so I can see it. Oh, yeah, I had a thing on where I couldn't even see it. Thanks for the explanation on the significance toward, yeah. Okay, I couldn't even see it. That was so weird. There we go. Let's see. I guess autonomy and duty versus utilitarianism. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think Kant. I've heard it said both ways. We'll say can't to avoid unfortunate similarities with other words. Just was a to again 30,000 foot. It was believed an objective consequence, and John Mill was a utilitarian. I think Peter Singer is kind of probably the most recent that would fall into that, but he's an abject utilitarian, which is potentially even willing to get rid of it, which I think probably still happened there, but it didn't seem as pronounced. I'm leveled up mod after all 3 times and stopped writing the same sentence, also thrice. Shadow of the Colossus, repeat messages, strike again. That's okay. They did, though. 2 things. 1, I'm a girl, like I said last time. Yep, there we go. 2, your message was triplicate. Yeah, that's what that's why I was, I just wanted to, that's what I was saying. I thought you had said that. Triplicate was a reference to one of Retro's old streams. Yeah. There are 3 types of people. People who can count and people who can't. Yep. Copyright infringement understood. I apologize for saying he. Yeah. Retro does have 2 banned words. I don't have any banned words. I don't care. Again, this is the only time that you're going to be put out of this is if you're coming in and just trying to disrupt it. Like, you can disagree. I don't even care if you insult me. But, like, don't just come in here and throw random insults. I mean, okay, that's disruptive to the idea of us being able to speak openly, right? But I don't care. Like, language is a tool. It doesn't matter whether it be considered crass or otherwise. That's just what it is, so. No problem. Not a big deal. No ill will. Sorry for making it a whole... Oh, that's okay. That's fine. We want to make sure we address people with respect. So, obviously, it's... But Viddy... And if you don't mind my saying, is one of the kindest individuals, so I also know it's likely a genuine just slip up. One of the kindest individuals I've had the pleasure of getting to speak with over these past several years. So, which is unfortunately referring to the general chat audience here generally being male. Yeah, I mean there are a lot of us that are guys. Sure, we're very fortunate to have we're very fortunate to have people of all. From all walks of life in every area come in and commentate. We do have a couple of ladies that are kind enough to come in and commentate with us. So, or not commentate with us necessarily, but to speak with us. And we have the fortune of speaking with them. Apology accepted almost. In fact, Maggie's not been on here in quite a while. I know, she said last time she was in, she's been just super busy back and forth, and so I try not to bug her, but it's always a pleasure when we do get to see her. And she says hi. Her little Discord thing always kind of makes me a little, it's like, it always says, I know I've let you down, and I'm like, I hope that's not directed, I hope that's a quote from something, because I don't hold expectation. I don't have the right to hold expectation of you. I always see that, and it's like, oh, it's not. I haven't let me down. I hope that's not a general sentiment. I wonder, did Kant ever have the problem with his name pronounced like that, unless he strictly wanted to be referred to by his first name? I don't necessarily. Well, I mean, I think he went by that. I think he went by his last name more frequently because Emmanuel was his first name. Which is Emmanuel for those who don't know, and. But I believe his last name is supposed to be pronounced with a short A. But again, he was German, and so that's where that's kind of coming from is, but Emmanuel, but I'm Manuel, or Manuel. It's a manual, not an auto car. Oh, manual, like it's in the transmission. Someone please get a manual. Somebody would say that and he would just pop up. I've got a manual for how to be a mod. By the way, I like game manuals. So do I. One of my bookshelf, I will say one bookshelf is dedicated to strategy guides, which I really liked. Leather-bound Zelda ones even. I don't necessarily use them. No joke, my cousin is named Emmanuel. We call him Manny. Yeah, I don't necessarily... I mean, I think that's an endearing name, and I think it's... And Emmanuel's a good name, too. He was born on Christmas. Why does he keep becoming we today? We was born on Christmas. Autocorrect, right? It's AI. AI is a good thing, so said Earthworm Jim creator such and such, I guess. Oh man, I wonder what it's like to be born on Christmas. Do you get both birthday and Christmas? You do, and the reason I know that is because my brother was born on Christmas Day also. Probably a lot longer ago. I say he's not, my brother's not super old, he's in his 30s, but yeah, my little brother is born on Christmas, and he gets both the presents, but he only kind of gets one of the days, and so when you're younger, that's kind of a bummer, because you get presents on the same day that everybody else does. You do get more, but you do get them on the same day as everybody else does. And so it kind of makes it feel a little less special, which is why I usually try to give him his stuff in like September if I can help it. I try to get him stuff in like September so he's got his own day or his own month, you know. I've never understood that gimmick on Discord, but I'm pretty sure that's how it's been happening with Maggie, or at least I hope it's not. Yeah, me too. My birthday aligns with Thanksgiving every few years. Had a turkey-shaped cake. That's really cool. That's neat. Have like an ice cream cake where one of the drumsticks can be pulled off to be a cone. Speaking of Discord, I just got a notification being Siren Ivy's about to stream. She is. Oh man, just as I'm leaving. Oh, gotta go to church. Oh, no worries. Well, it's a pleasure having gotten to speak with you again. Copyright. And I've got a great lot of things that you've brought to my attention that I'd like to brush up on. So I very much appreciate it. It's always a pleasure. Have a good one. Yeah, please do. Please have a wonderful day. Enjoy. You all as well. Everyone here is delightful, as are you. So I very much appreciate you for coming in and talking with us. It's always a pleasure, truly. But yeah, I hope that's not a real sentiment. I hope that's an actual, you know. I hope it's a maybe just kind of a banner thing, but yeah. Yeah, as far as... I'll go all the way back to the very beginning, though, and we'll talk about just for a second the communities when it comes to the AI, and delightful, I agree with that, except we mentioned Alucard and Mike. Yeah. What I was saying was that the idea of somebody being awful to somebody else because of them having a disagreement with AI. Like, for example, talking about AI and the animated part. Discord banners are sometimes deliberately typed up to be weird or... Yeah, which is fine, but that one seems so sad. That's why I have the little... Because that one seems like it's you know, I know I've let you down versus, you know, it's kind of, if it was weird, like, you know, I'm the god of all things bald, you know, that would be an interesting... That would be goofy, right? That'd be weird, but I know I've let you down. It just seems so sad. And there's this little kind of animated character, and you know. So. But no, going back to the original topic, what you were talking about, communities. One of the things that I really have a very big disagreement with, and have a very big problem with, in a lot of these cases, are people who, even from a position of authority, who have created these, you know, things like Earthworm Jim, or whether that be the cartoon, or whether that be the video game. He says, okay, I've done this and I'm successful, and because I'm here, I'm in a position of authority. Remember that in debate, there is a fallacy, and it's called the appeal to authority fallacy. It basically says, because somebody who is in a bigger position than you says so, therefore it is right. Again, going back to my workplace, having utilized this, the same guy who had said, you think, you do, don't think, basically, had also said, we had these numbers that had come up, and of course I had done the math, the numbers were wrong, the math doesn't line up. I'm pretty sure everybody knows how to do averages, right? Averages, you add up the total, you add up the total integers and divide by the total number of integers, right? So if you have 5 numbers, you add those 5 numbers up and then divide by the 5, or divide by 5, and you get an the averages didn't actually line up with what was being shown as an average. So there was either some invisible number being pulled, or more likely it was wrong. And the guy that we had reported to says, oh, you need to, these numbers are correct. And I shook my head, and he says, yeah, no, you can't. I know you're shaking your heads, but these numbers are correct because they came from the bosses. That doesn't matter. Math is math, whether it comes from the president of the world or whether it comes from some random person who's just barely kind of coming up into their adult life. Math is the same math for that one at the bottom as it was for that one on the top, and if it's wrong, it doesn't matter if it came from one or the other, it's still wrong. And we have to be willing to say, even if there's a person in a position, if we can prove it's wrong, we have to be willing to go, nope, it's wrong. Cognitive offloading and appeal to authority fallacy. Too many words and letters, as Gaming Thunder would say. Numbers as well. Yeah, well, I mean, I think appeal to authority fallacy is one that we're kind of seeing more, get more, I think we're seeing it get more attention now, because I think a lot of people are kind of reverting to it. Not necessarily just in debate. Cognitive offloading and appeal to authority fallacy kind of go hand in hand when you think about it, because cognitive offloading is saying I don't need to think or don't want to think because I don't need to think or I don't want to think because thinking is difficult, and if I don't think and I let this other person do the thinking for me, then there's plausible deniability and da-da-da. And then it also allows the appeal to authority fallacy to come in and say, well, this was the right thing to do because my boss told me. So I can actually, not only can I say that the boss did all the thinking, but I can say if the boss did it wrong, then that's also the boss's fault. And the problem with that is that we're not actually getting closer to a correct answer. All we're doing is finding a way to point a finger at somebody, not ourselves. And we've got to stop. We've got to get away from that. We've got to stop doing this, I'm not going to do the thinking for myself. I'm uncomfortable telling somebody that they're wrong, so I'm going to go ahead and defer to them. My job is safe because people in higher positions like me, versus that I'm actually good at what I do, or that I actually can have these harder conversations where I can say, no, what you've put out there in the world is wrong. And again, going into the Earthworm Jim thing, this guy is a creator of some things well beloved, and that's definitely worth merit. So if he were to offer an opinion and say, well, wait a minute, AI does make our job easier because I animated Earthworm Jim on cells, and that took forever. And AI actually has the ability where if I paint keyframes, AI's got a really good ability to kind of paint in between the keyframes. So it's still human every 5 frames, but like your average animation is going to be like your average cinema, 24 frames per second. I don't have to paint, but every 5 frames, which means I only end up painting roughly 4 or 5 frames. And then all I have to do is let it fill in the frames in the in-between. It's really good about that. And then I go back and clean up the mess. That's an opinion, and that's something where you have an illustration of inside of the industry, this is what's kind of going on. But for somebody to go out and actually attack people because, I have a different opinion and you're not in a position where you've made anything beloved, therefore you can't, what you say is wrong or doesn't hold water, that's a problem. That's problematic. We have to be a little bit more cognizant of when we're doing things like that. And it's obviously not just him. There are other people that do that also, right? So I'm not trying to attack just him, but we have to be a little bit more cognizant when we're talking about people and saying, let me give you the inside, scoop on how this makes things more simple or efficient in our line of work. But then at the same time, if somebody's like, well, I don't like it, then you have to be willing to say, okay, well, I'm not here to change your mind. I was here to give you my spin, and then, that's fine. This also reminds me that animators on YouTube take a long time to make such videos, which impacted their viewership. Now AI makes their job easier or not. Well, and the other thing about it is the YouTube algorithm has had such a random, wide roller coaster of things, right? It incentivizes some weird things, and then, for example, early YouTube was random. And then it kind of quickly, and kind of going into the 2010s, 2009, 2010, 2011, it kind of started to move into where it would incentivize animators because you had off-site animation that was happening. It was kind of popular. So YouTube would say, okay, well, bring your animators over here, bring your animatics over here. And then YouTube would, okay, all of a sudden now animators are coming and getting paid. Well, we don't like that. And you have to have a network now, an MCN. And then they got to the point of where they would now, you could drop the MCN. So the algorithm and animation and it's just all of this is just it's a bunch of wonky. But I would have liked it. I would like to have seen kind of a mentality of let's come in and try to show what the industry. What do they call the? I'm trying to think of the thing that they would call a. What is it? It's baseball, but it's a baseball reference. But basically, it's inside baseball, I think is what they call it. But it's basically let me show you how we operate. Let me show you how we work. One of the greatest animators that I think does a great job of this is Aaron Blaise. He's got a YouTube channel. He was an animator with Disney for almost a quarter of a century, I think. And he's drawn projects like Brother Bear and such, which I've never seen Brother Bear, but I've seen snippets of the animation. I've never seen the movie. But he shows you the insides, the ins and outs of how they used to do it and such. And then if he came in and said, well, AI is actually making this easy for me because I used to do in-betweening, which is when you used to have pieces of paper in between the fingers, all of the fingers of your hand, right? And you flip through all of those papers and you could kind of see how it's going. And he's like, oh, we don't have to do that anymore. It's a lot easier on my digital tablet to have AI plug in. I get that. But to sit there and to berate somebody else who has a difference of opinion on that, even if it's an opinion that may not be as well developed because they're not in that industry, it's still not something you ought to be doing. Time pressures and stuff, Beck, and whether that's a factor or point of view is up to you, so I better get going. Bye, Retro and Chat. And I think it's probably about time we all end that. I will go ahead and end on this, though, and that is going back to the time pressures thing, which I kind of brushed upon in the last stream, which is the world continues to want to move faster. The world is wanting to demand more out of you and more quickly. And I want to be very careful in discouraging this, because I'm not asking you to go and shirk responsibilities. But I also want to make sure that you're being reasonable to yourself. So understand that faster doesn't need to happen all the time. More doesn't need to happen all the time. Good and quality is what should be happening. Make sure that work, school, whatever it might be, you're giving yourself time to do what you need to do for you. The world is trying to move a lot faster. Just take time, slow down, be happy, enjoy life, because if you continue to go faster and faster and faster for somebody else, at the end of things, your life will go as quickly as the rest of you is. And at the end of things, you'll look back and go, why did I speed run my entire life? And now I'm here at my behest and not able to do anything. The analogy, I've given this before, there's an analogy made on YouTube. It's actually kind of a short video. It's not a short, but it's a short video where a guy graduates high school. He comes out and he's standing inside of a box, and a guy walks up and says, stand inside. It's a very small box. He says, stand here from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and I'll pay you. And every single day, the guy's like, is that all I have to do? Yeah, sure. So he comes in, he pays the guy, pays the guy, pays the guy, pays the guy. A couple of times, some guys come up, hey, let's go skateboarding. The guy says, I'd like to, but I really can't. Man, I've got to stand inside this box until 5, Keeps doing it. Guy looks a little bit older, and he says, hey, man. Guy that keeps paying him comes in and says, hey, man, so you get to stand in this box now. It's a bigger box, and I'm going to pay you more money, but you stay here from 9 to 5. Does it. The guy that pays him doesn't age, but you can see that the guy that's in the box is aging, right? The guy in the box now has long white hair and a white beard. And the guy that pays him comes up and says, here's your paycheck for the day. And the guy says, yeah, I appreciate it. I'd like to retire now, I think. And the guy that pays him says, oh, well, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your service. And then walks off. No fanfare, no pomp, no circumstance. The man who had been standing in this box from 9 to 5, who had gotten a bigger box, but had basically been standing in boxes from the time he got out of high school until the time that he's this long, white-haired, white-bearded old man, grabs a skateboard, sees some kids skating, grabs a skateboard, tries to skate, realizes he's too old, and he can no longer skate. He had spent all of his life in a box getting paid by somebody else for somebody else's purpose, that he had missed out on being able to do the things that he wanted. He was so afraid of stepping outside of that box and not getting that paycheck that he had failed to live his life and do the things he wanted, and was finally, when he got out of it, too old to actually do what he wanted. Don't let that happen. It's happening more now and more aggressively now than it ever has, because everybody thinks with all of the technology, you should be able to cut down on how much time an individual task takes you, and you should be moving faster, and that means more efficient, and that isn't that. Speed is not more efficiency. Speed is faster. Speed does not speed implies velocity, but not direction, right? If you're going really fast, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going really fast to the desired destination. Doing more doesn't necessarily mean doing what's right, doing the right amount. So just be careful. Let's not fall into the trap of these paradigms. And be willing to, on occasion, say no, or slow down, or do a little less. Do good work, quality work, do solid by yourself, by your teammates, by your companies, be loyal, but also understand that it's okay to just be. And I would encourage you to give polite pushback to anybody who discourages that. But I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I really want to say thank you to everybody who's popped in and said hi. I want to click a button, but it won't do anything. It doesn't let me know. But anyway, I'm going to say a huge thank you to everybody who popped in, listened, talked back and forth with me. Ash, copyright infringement, Vidi, Thumb, Mikey Sprites. It is always such a pleasure to speak with all of you, and it's no exception here. It's been no exception here. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your weekend, and a wonderful beginning to your week. And remember, live your life at your speed. Okay? But have a wonderful, wonderful time, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.